Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. So without wasting any time, let's move to the newspaper. First we will identify the important news and then we'll move on to the analysis section. So this is Wednesday, April 27, 2022, the Hindu Daily edition, right? As usual, we'll be identifying the most important news first, followed by a detailed discussion of the same. So let's see what are the most important news for today. So Act Against Communal Hate, SC tells two states. Okay, we'll see what it is. More COVID jabs for children get not. Okay, this is a good news. Draft of new IT law likely to be out in May. Okay. UP asks minister officers to declare asset as usual. Look beyond Ukraine crisis. Jaishankar. Okay. Yes, he's right. The over obsession on Ukraine crisis is something that should we actually look beyond. Okay. Here is nothing. Here is nothing more. Okay. Now let's see on this page. Okay. There is nothing here. Okay. There is nothing here as well. Okay. Okay, there is nothing here. Okay, again there is nothing. I think there is nothing here as well. Okay. Okay, there is nothing on these pages. Now on this page, Indianness is only one, the only caste. PM says okay, fine. LDF, nothing here, nothing here. Okay, two panelists withdraw from debate or not required. Worship takes a digital term with temple going e-way. Okay, okay. Okay, you can use it. This can be a case study, right? Case study, just this thing only. Case study for what? Digital, increasing digital utility footprints. Okay, you can write it. It could be interesting. Fine. Now editorial. Macron re-elected. Let me congratulate him. But yes, challenges are ahead. Fine. Buying free speech. Not do away with safeguard Twitter has built against his speech. Okay, okay. Mission Antodaya should not fall by the wayside. Yes, this is important again. Myopic sports person should not be penalized for action of the political leaders. Okay. India is a democratic superpower. The country is more than capable of providing leadership that the world often needs. Tony Abbott was the 28th Prime Minister of Australia. Okay, we can read it. Let's see. Very briefly we'll go for it. A splintered nerve center. Services of urban local body have to be integrated with ICCC for improving amenity. Okay, we'll see. This could give us a point for our democratic decentralization theme. Okay. Okay, there is nothing else here. Text and context page. India designation by USCIRF. Yes, we must know this. What is USCIRF? First, we'll read the gist and see if anything there is there or not. For free speech, though paid subscription, through paid subscription, Elon Musk Twitter takeover. Okay, we'll give a read to the gist only. Not everything is important. Everywhere there is talking of free speech and everything like that. United Colors of Yellow Vest. Okay, this Yellow Vest was in France last year. Yellow Vest revolution, right? Let's see. We'll give a read to gist. If possible, then we'll go inside it. I don't think it is required. There will be no winner in Ukraine war. Obviously, there won't be a winner in Ukraine war. Okay. Wrong to say half of working age cohort dropped out. Fine. SC to hear two petition on sedition law today. Okay. We'll list his application in 2 days. Fine. Regress Manu not required. Not required. India unique syntactic over. Okay. We have to see what it is. Healthy aging today. Fine. India needs a plan so that we are not vulnerable to splinter net. What is this splinter net? This is a kind of new term we have to see. Okay, Congress decides to Kishore decides open to join Congress. Okay, here is nothing. Distress coordinating are not required. Efforts to improve port infra. Okay. See orders audit will not required. Center on Netflix launches partnership with 2 Minute Films. Okay, not required. Not required here as well. China has no easy exit. Strategy from zero COVID. Okay. There are both public health and political compulsions during President Xi Jinping hardline approach to fat. Okay, fine. Yeah. US hosts weapon summit as Moscow warns of world war. Nobody wants the war to end. Neither Moscow and US never wants war to end because war is a big business for US, right? Focused on diplomacy, not sanctions. Blinken, okay. They will say big things, but when it comes to groundwork, you know what is the reality. 3 Chinese among 4 killed in Pak blast. Countries will have to justify veto votes at UN. Reform prompted by Ukraine invasion. Why? And when Pakistan invaded India, and when there are terrorist attack in India, why don't they go for reforms? Why don't that promote or prompt this reforms thing? Is white life more important than us brown life, or what? The racism has always been part of the human history, and it always will be, as it seems. They say just things, big things, that yes we can do this, yes we can do that, but when it comes to the ground reality, they are as helpless as they were maybe a decade or maybe a century ago. China India adds coal plant as global capacity addition, lift 13%. Okay, CBDT aims to tax GDP ratio. Okay, we'll give it a read. Fine. Okay. Okay, scrap coal import due to bro. It has been a thing that has been in news. Bitcoin battery fire incidents. Okay, white good PLI track 19 not required. Chris Gale to have a fantasy team to make on the West. Okay, not required. Parag bowlers combined to give RR a comfortable win over RCB. As usual, Titans and Sunrisers are in powerful battle. So, okay, there is nothing else here. So I think yes, with this we come to end of identification of most important news. Now let us delve deep into the news and analyze the same. Okay. Act against communal hate. SC tells the two state. This is our first news. Now let's see what the news has to say. We want to see you take corrective measures. These events do not take place overnight. Advance notices is given. Please explain what preventive actions you have taken, and did you take actions against those responsible for that? What had happened? It is a very stern view. Let's see what had happened. Tuesday turned the heat on BJP ruled Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh to take corrective measures against the peddling of communal hate in Dharma Sansad event, and warned that chief secretaries of two states will be held responsible for any untoward statements made during this program. A bench led by Khanvilkar said that chief secretaries, home secretaries and police in the state were bound to stop hate crimes and follow preventive and punitive measures against hate crimes laid down by Supreme Court in its judgment. Okay, so what is the problem then? If there is a Dharma Sansad there, so what is the actual problem? Is it hate speech or something else? We want to see you take corrective. Did you take any? Okay, Justice Khanwalkar addressed the state council for senior advocate Kapil Sibal said a Dharma Sansad was scheduled at Roorkee in Uttarakhand on Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday today. Fine. Okay, he showed the court the purpose of communal statement made by the speaker in earlier event which took place in Himachal Pradesh between 17 and 19. They are not taking actions despite judgment from this court. These events are happening in different places. Okay, FIR filed. Counsel for Uttarakhand said FIR has been filed in the cases earlier events of similar nature. He said two communities who are at loggerhead with each other were both holding such events. The state has taken action in past without any communal bias. He said preventive actions against toward a statement being made in Roorkee event were underway. We do not know what they will say in the speeches, but we are taking steps. Your lordship may have faith in us, the lawyer said. There is no problem of trust. The doctrine of trust is applicable 24/7, but we want action and we want you to seek corrective measures and not explain yourselves in the court. Justice Khanwalkar responded. Okay, so here comes the question of free speech. Okay, so the analysis or the thing is here. What is free speech versus hate speech? Okay, what is the demarcation between two is still not clear, and hence people often say that they are using their rights of free speech, and which may be taken as hate speech by other communities, right? So communal harmony is very important in India, and yes, everything like that, not Dharma Sansad, but whatever that is said towards harming any other person should be banned, right? This is my take on this. Yes, Dharma Sansad should be allowed. What is the problem? Dharma Sansad should be allowed. Anything that is related to religious things can be allowed because it is part of the religion. Dharma Sansad has been organized from so many, I think, centuries or what, right? Not exactly Dharma Sansad name, but name would have been different. But Dharma Sansad has been done, like first Buddhist meet, right? Buddhist meet. You have Buddhist Council. Okay, there were 4 numbers. There are Jain Council. Right. There are many things in India, and this is what makes India great: the geography and as well as the unity in diversity. Right. More COVID jabs for children gets not. This is a very good news. Corbevax and Covaxin cleared for emergency uses. DGCI would have given the permission, obviously. Okay. Biological ease Corbevax has been approved for administration in children between 5 and 12, and Bharat Biotech Covaxin has been approved for restricted use in emergency situation 6 to 12 group. Right. Okay. Was there any other news on this page? I don't think so. Okay, there were no news here on these pages. I remember this. And as usual, no, yes, I've done this. Okay. As usual, we'll be doing the editorial and text and explain pages last, right? So let's move directly to other news. So our EAM, External Affairs Minister, says that there will be no winner in Ukraine war. Obviously, in a war, I said this yesterday only, that in a war, only things that win is a war, right? The person, the country, the individual, the group that thinks that they have won the war actually bears a very heavy toll on their economy. They literally get devastated, and the country that loses the war, so-called loses the war, is the country that has been devastated, right? So both sides, there are only devastation, and there is no prosperity on either side. Yes, during the war, the third person may prosper, like US has been doing during World Wars, right? Okay, let's see. Jaishankar reminds the West that there are equally serious challenges in Indo-Pacific region. Okay. No world will emerge victorious in the war in Ukraine, said EAM Jaishankar. Addressing the annual Raisina dialogue, here the senior minister said that citizens of the world were getting affected by events such as pandemic and violence, and reminder guests from Western countries of several equally serious challenges in the Western countries of several equally serious challenges in Indo-Pacific region, and they should look beyond the crisis in Ukraine. Obviously, they should look beyond the crisis in Ukraine. I think from Feb 24 it began, right? From Feb 24 onwards, the entire focus of the world has been shifted to Russia-Ukraine crisis, right? It feels that there is no corona now. Nobody is talking about corona. There is nothing related to vaccines and all those things, right? Everybody is talking only one thing, that is Ukraine-Russia war. So we have to understand that in the world there are other things beyond this crisis as well. Rule-based order, there will be no winner out of this conflict, obviously. Now you would always use this keyword in your IR answers, right? This is very important to use rule-based order word, because it is a specific thing that comes every now and then in the exam, in the newspaper. At this moment, this would occupy you with the exclusion of everything else. There are equally pressing issues in other part of the world. I mentioned Afghanistan, the challenges we faced in Asia. Dr. Jaishankar said. He cited that the rules-based international order was violated in Indo-Pacific region in recent past, but the Western decision maker did not pay sufficient attention to addressing the cause of such breakdown. A day earlier, European Commission President had also connected Ukraine crisis with Indo-Pacific region, saying that war in Europe had begun to impact the region. Her premise was based on the emerging partnership between Russia and China. Yesterday she said that Russia and China will grow, the partnership between them will grow more and more, right? They will become more and more intimate to one another. As unrestrained pact, right? During the second day of the annual event, the several speakers, including former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, his speech is printed in this newspaper only. We'll see. Mr. von der Leyen's opinion on China's role in emerging world order said that following the Russian military campaign on Ukraine, China may be tempted to launch an operation to take Taiwan. Again, look, this is just hate mongering, right? Hate and fear mongering. Why? They are not done anything. China till now has not tried to get Ukraine. I'm saying Taiwan. And mark my word, they will not do it right now, because their economy is shattered. They are already accused of corona pandemic. They want their reputation to be good now, and they will not go for Taiwan takeover, or else what will happen? Due to shattering economy, they cannot fund that war, right? So they are not going to go there. And people understand these things, but they still monger fear in the public. Okay. India has maintained communication with both sides of the war and urged immediate cessation of the violence. Yes, this was a good stance, because we cannot tolerate war, and we should not hate the sinner. We should hate the sin, right? Similarly, we should not hate the parties involved in the war. We should hate the war itself, and war should not be there at any cost, and diplomacy should take over that, right? The policy has drawn some criticism, including the US President John Biden, who described it as shaky. They always do that. When they do, it's a revolution, right? It's what we say. It's like getting things free. Okay, getting Afghanistan free, getting the world free from terrorism, global war against terrorism, these things. And when other countries say that, oh, they are trying to acquire the land. Why did you send your people to Afghanistan? Who were you to send them in Afghanistan? You were no one, but you still sent it. Weren't you shaky that time? And now you say that India is shaky. What is this? Mr. Jaishankar told on critics of India's neutral stance on Ukraine crisis, saying, when rule-based order was under challenge in Asia, the advice we got from Europe is to do more trade. Oh my god. So when the rule based order was under challenge in Asia, when there were problems in Asia, then they, what does the Europe advise? You do more trade. At least we are not giving you that advice. Further, he said that people of Afghanistan were abandoned without any concern about their future. Okay, he's correct. The people of Afghanistan were abandoned. If, look, two things could have been there. US would have never gone to Afghanistan, and if they have gone to Afghanistan, then the departure should have been slow and in a phased manner. But no, they did what? They just went to Afghanistan, did all those things, fancy things, fired here and there, killed people, got their people killed, and after that, what they did? They just vanished, and leaving all their arms, most of them, not all, arms and ammunition there in Afghanistan. And this is leading to what? This is leading to Afghans and more precisely Taliban getting more and more advanced and sophisticated weapon. This will lead to what? This will lead to more damaging the rule-based order, right? In terms of Afghanistan, please show me which part of the rule-based international order justified what the world did there, said Mr. Jaishankar, who urged the Western country to look beyond the immediate continental problems. I recognize today that the conflict in Ukraine is one among the dominant issues, not just in terms of principles and values alone, but also in the knock-on effect. People in Asia and Africa are saying that the conflict is playing out in terms of higher energy prices, food inflation, and disturbance of various kinds. He urged for the beginning of serious negotiations. And serious negotiations are still possible if the West wants that to happen, right? It is a big business for West, especially Russia-Ukraine crisis, because Ukraine has been an accused center of illegal trade in weapons and narcotics, right? So it is a big business. Okay, US will send its military support in lieu of dollars, and so will the Western nations, including Canada. Okay. So we are done with this. Let's see if any other news is left. They will always preach India, that oh India you should do this, oh India you should do that, and when we ask for help, then no, you are the guilty person. So if we are the guilty person, okay, then we'll see what we can do. India unique syncretic social fabric at risk. Ex-bureaucrat write to PM calling for action. A group of 400 retired bureaucrats on Tuesday urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi to call for an end to politics of hate. They said that his silence in face of the enormous societal threat is deafening. In an open letter to Mr. Modi, 108 signatory under the Constitutional Conduct Group highlighted the recent spate of communal tensions and actions by the BJP ruled state against Muslims and other minorities. The latest stated the violence against minorities, particularly Muslim, in last few months and years in many BJP ruled states has become more frightening. Okay, state fully complicit. What is alarming now is the subordination of fundamental principles of our constitution and the rule order to force the majoritarianism, in which state appears to be fully complicit. The hate and malevolence directed against Muslims seem to have embedded in itself deep recesses of the structures and all those things they are saying. Okay, social fabric was likely to be torn apart. Okay, we appeal you to consider. Okay, these things are there. Appeal that this should not happen. Okay, this is a good appeal as usual. Okay, that India's unity in diversity and its special social fabric is at risk. Obviously, if state turns out to become a mafia, then this is possible. This is actually possible that the fabric will get turned and country will go into the fires of communal violence. But there is also one concern that if a state do not take action or is not seen to be taking action, and since we know that the judiciary has the image of getting the justice delayed in India, especially, then what happens? It motivates these rioters to go for another riots. You looked at that person from Jahangir Puri who was delivering the Pushpa like status that "Mai jhukega nahi" when he was being arrested by the police. This is very shameful, and therefore the government has to come in between, and the normal people should feel that the state is doing certain work, right? But at the same time, state should also remain under the constitutional limits and do the things in a more procedural fashion. Okay. If they want to do this bulldozer thing, okay, you do, but you have a law for that. Now you don't have a law for that, and the law that you are using as behind it shows your clear motive that you didn't wanted to spiritically follow that law. Instead, you are using it as a shield to protect your work, right? So these things are there. This is my take on this. That yes, these bureaucrats are correct to much of the extent, actually to 100% of the extent. Yes, but there is also one viewpoint that state should be seen to do some action so that proper deterrence is created. But the actions of the state, in my humble opinion, should be according to the constitutional premises. Okay, or should be according to the premises set by the constitution. This is what I believe firmly, right? Okay. Let's see the another news if it has something. Splinternet, what it is? Internet. Cyber balkanization or internet balkanization. Characteristics of internet as a splintering and divided due to various factors such as technology, commerce, politics. Okay, so splinternet means divided internet. Look, what is the actual purpose of internet? It is a centralized repository of infinite information, right? And what is this splinternet now? Now this information is, or the entire internet audience or netizens get divided basis of you say political viewpoint, economical viewpoint, religious viewpoint, or any other viewpoints, right? And this division is called splinterneting. Okay, India needs a plan so that we are not vulnerable to splinternet. Yes, we need a plan. Okay, give it a read. I don't think this is very important, but still you give it a read. Okay, so there is nothing out here as well on these pages, and so we reach this page. CBDT aims to lift GDP tax ratio to 15 to 20% from current 12%. So he is JB Mohapatra, okay, chairman of Central Board of Direct Taxes, and he aims that tax to GDP ratio should be 15 to 20% from current 12%. So it is 12% right now, and he wants it to be about 15 to 20% between that. India's direct tax collection amounted to rupees this much crores for FY 2022, which is highest collection ever, signaling that Indian economy has bounced back after 2 years of pandemic. As against 14.09 lakh crores this year, our collection was only 9.45 lakh crores. In a single year, we move upward by 4.5 lakh crores, registering a growth of 49%. The collection is best ever as far as income tax and corporation taxes are concerned. Gross tax collection grew 32.8% to this much crore. Okay, 1.6. Okay, 16.3 lakh crores. Okay, this gives a clear signal that Indian economy, yes, it gives a clear signal that obviously Indian economy has bounced back. 60% of overall tax take is around 12%. Okay, tax to GDP ratio. Okay, and we want to raise it to 15 to 20% in next 5 to 10 years. This means more tax coming out of in the GDP, right? Okay, so it's a good news that direct tax collection has gone up. Okay, now let's see if other news is left. No, so we reached this page. There was nothing on these pages. So with this we come to the end of identification as well as analysis of the most important news. Now we are left with analysis and deep understanding for the editorial section. So let us go directly to the editorial section and start our work. Okay, cut. So this is our editorial. Mission Antyodaya should not fall by the wayside. With the right momentum, the project can transform in rural India in terms of development and social justice. Okay. The Indian Constitution mandates local government to prepare and implement plan for economic development and social justice. Article 243G and Article 243W. Okay. Several complementary institutions and measures such as Gram Sabha to facilitate. Such as Gram Sabha to facilitate people's participation in district planning committee to prepare bottom up and a spatial development plan, state finance commission to ensure vertical and horizontal equity, 1/3 reservation for women, population based reservation for SC STs communities, and so on were introduced to promote this goal. Even so, India's decentralization reform, okay, with no parallel in the federal history, have failed to take the decentralization process towards delivering social justice and progress in rural India. Okay, the author is very sad about it, and let's see what more he has to say. The article argues that given the right momentum, the Mission Antyodaya, you know what is Mission Antyodaya? Is that even the last rung of the society people should not be left behind. Okay, they should also be developed. Project of Government of India launched in 2017-18 bears a great promise to revive the objective of the great democratic reforms. The Ministry of Panchayati Raj and Ministry of Rural Development act as nodal agency to take the mission forward. The BJP government, so who are the two ministries? Panchayati Raj obviously and Rural Development will be obviously there. Okay, the Panchayati and the BJP government, which came to power in 2014, had several reasons to reimagine the rural development. The traditional poverty line linked to calorie income measure, religiously pursued by the former planning commission with great academic support provided by insane and proved inane and failed to serve the purposive policy tools. Moreover, the revealing statistics brought into public domain by the SECC 2011 were demanding remedial interventions. That 90% of rural households have no salaried job. Okay, 53.7% million households were landless. 6.89 million female-headed households have no adult member to support. 49% suffer from multiple deprivations. 52% suffer derive sustenance from manual labor, causal labor, etc., etc. Paradoxically, this happened in a country that spends more than 3 trillion every year for rural poor from central and state budget and credit self-help programs. Okay, indeed, the Mission Antodaya project was a needed intervention. So, what is the spending? 3 trillion every year. And what is the result? Most the sector is very much stressed, right? So with this high spending, still there is a lot of stress in the sector. This is a paradox, right? Key goal: the main objective of Mission Antodaya is to ensure optimal use of resources through convergence. Okay, so what is the main objective? To ensure optimal use of resources through convergence of various schemes that address multiple deprivations of poverty, making gram panchayat as hub of development plans. Okay, so what it wants, the gram panchayat should be the hub of development plans, right? And gram panchayat should act as a nodal agency in these implementation as well. This planning process is supported by annual survey that helps to access various development gaps in the gram panchayat level by collecting data regarding 29 subjects assigned to panchayat by 11th schedule of constitution. But one thing is there, that not all these 29 subjects power are given to the this panchayati raj, okay, institutions. These subjects are broken down into 112 parameters for data collection using detailed questionnaires. Also, data regarding health and nutrition, social security, good governance, water management, and so on are also collected. The idea of Panchayati Raj Ministry is to identify the gaps in basic needs at local level and integrating resources of various schemes, self-help group, voluntary organization, and so on to finance them need coordination and capacity building of higher order, right? If pursued in a general manner, this can foster economic development and interjurisdictional equity. Okay, although two major reports, one on infrastructure and service gap and other on composite index, have been in public domain, they do not seem to have attracted public discussion. Fine. Gaps in gram panchayat. The Mission Antodaya survey in 2019-20 for the first time collected data that shed light on infrastructural gap from 2.67 lakh gram panchayat comprising 6.48 villages with 1.03 billion population. Okay. Now here we understand the data set updated annually enables development planning sectorally and especially from the village level to state and country as a whole. For an insight into the gap report, we must use the state-wise breakup of the score values. The maximum score values assigned will add up to 100 and are prescribed in class intervals of 10. While no state in India falls in top score bracket of 90 to 100, about 1484 gram panchayat fall in bottom bracket. Even in the score range of 80 to 90, 10 states and UTs do not appear. Okay, total number of gram panchayat for 18 states that have reportedly adds up to 260, constitute only 0.1% of total 2,67,466 gram panchayat in the country. Okay, if we consider a score range of 70 to 80, Kerala tops but accounts only for 34.69% of gram panchayat. The corresponding all India average as low as 1.09%. Even for Gujarat, which comes next to Kerala, gram panchayat in this bracket are only 11.8%. Social justice still distant. The composite index data, a sort of surrogate for human development, also not encouraging. Although only 15 gram panchayat in the country fall in bottom range below 10 score, more than fifth of gram panchayat in India are below 40 range. All the gram panchayat in Kerala are above this and stand out in contrast to the rest of the state. While the country as a whole, only 7.37% have composite index in 70 to 100 bracket. Gujarat, which tops the list, has 20.5% in range, followed by Kerala and all others. Okay? The gap reports the composite index shown is unmistakable terms that building economic development and social justice remains a distant goal even after 30 years of decentralization reforms and nearly 75 years into independence. Nearly 4 years have passed since the former finance minister Arun Jaitley announced mission project in his budget speech of 2017-18 with specific targets to make 50,000 gram panchayat poverty free by 19 and the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji. Nothing happened, but goalposts have been moved to 2022 coinciding with 75th independence anniversary, right? Removing goalpost is a poor game. Yes, of course it is. Rectify these lapses, the score to reduce the growing rural-urban disparities is tremendous. Given the saturation approach of Ministry of Panchayati, the possibility of realizing universal primary health care, literacy, drinking water supply and the like are also immense, but there are no serious converged resource. Okay, MG Narega, National Rural Livelihood Mission, National Social Assistance Program, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, etc. to save administrative expenses. Another lapse is failure to deploy data to India's physical federalism, particularly to improve the transfer system and horizontal equity in delivery of public goods in India at sub-state level. Evidently, 15th Finance Commission has missed it. Okay, the constitutional goal of planning and implementation of economic development and social justice can be achieved only through strong policy intervention. The policy history of India has been witness to the phenomena of announcing big projects and failing to take them to their logical consequences. Mission Antyodaya is striking case in recent. Okay, so the author actually paints up the real picture. Okay, it paints up the real picture of ground level conditions of villages, or not actually villages, or PRIs, and the present fate of Indian decentralization, right? Okay, so we have this here. Fine. Let's see if more has to be. Okay, now let's see the next article. India is a democratic superpower. The country is more than capable of providing leadership the world often is. Now this person, as we have seen, has been the one of the speaker in the Raisina dialogue. So his speech is there only. If you want to read it, not very relevant. I thought that he is not the speaker, therefore I marked it, else I would have not marked it. The Splinter Nerve Center services of urban local bodies have to be integrated with ICCC for improving amenities for the people. So one article was there for the Panchayati Raj institution, and another is there for urban local bodies, right? So let us read it, but I don't think it will be much. There will be much to write. We'll just give it a brief read. Okay. Now let's see. What is this ICCC? We must understand, right? Network infrastructure in city and in the global south seems to be a chimera that everyone wants to ride. It is mostly the people, however, who occupy network that makes infrastructure work for our city. Take for example water supply distribution lines in most Indian cities. In current form, no sensor may even replace the linemen who work the valve speed across the city, often with a simple rod to regulate supply of water, and yet a different logic of governing infrastructure is in the making. The Union Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Singh Puri, recently announced that Integrated Command and Control Centers, Integrated Command and Control Center (ICCC), have been established in 80 cities selected as part of Smart City Mission, centrally sponsored scheme. The ICCC project being executed may be seen as part of the Pan City component that mission which envisages application of selected smart solution to existing citywide infrastructure. 5 pillars of ICCC. Okay, let's find out 5 basic pillars. First is bandwidth, second are sensors and edge devices which record and generate real-time data. Third is various analytics which are software that draw on data captured to generate intelligence. Fourth is data storage, and fifth is the ICC software, which may be described as, in M. Mohua's word, a system of systems, the anchor for which all other application specific component has been described as brain on the nervous system of the city, right? Central to promise of ICC is the idea of predictive modeling. Okay, so it is based on what? Predictive modeling, which uses data to generate inputs on not just how city is, but also how it can be. It could tell which direction the city is growing in. It could predict future real estate hotspot. It could identify, predict all accident prone spots and all those things. It is in sharp contrast to how things actually work on ground. Okay. Our frames of responses and are retrospective, and we are constantly retrofitting our cities at primary mode of transformation. The ICC may be seen in sync with the function of urban local body under 74th constitutional amendment towards improving service for people. Okay, several contradictions may arise in this context. First, the project is being executed under the aegis of SPV, constituted under the Companies Act in selected cities. Projects of SPV that overlap with core ULB areas have been source of tension between the two. Okay, so the first thing is SPV versus ULB territorial challenges, right? Unless the core staff of ULB working across departments such as health, town planning, etc. Adopt ICC system, it risks being a splintered nerve center. Okay. One solution, what the solution it gives, is to build a team in SPV that can act as a bridge, inspire more users, develop capability. However, as contract employees, they may be subject to mercurial aspects of administration. Second is there is a risk of permanent underutilization of the system. So underutilization is always a problem. With poor integration with ULB, not just the software integration but also in terms of workflow and SOPs, the function capability may continue to be tilted towards the video surveillance. Even with the latter, configuration of video surveillance analytics and its application has been less than perfect for police department and department operators often use system manually to screen footage in wake of an incident, which defeats the purpose of ICCC, because it is based on what? Predictive modeling. Therefore, if they are doing some things manually, and then what is the need for such advanced software, right? The softwares of software. Okay. Third, the sizable investment required. So investment, which otherwise is struggling for fund to upgrade the basic infrastructure and all those things. Okay. If cities are choosing to sustain these systems out of their own revenue, if not, ICC may struggle to outline the exhaustion of mission grants. Okay. And finally, despite all the efforts to keep procurement vendor agnostic, some segments of ICC are still dominated by select industry players who may dictate terms to city or engage arm twisting for payment. War room. The ICC in some of the cities served as a war room during COVID-19 pandemic, and its application cited as a success. Despite its usefulness, the success of such war room lay in the fact that municipal, district and police administration were bound together by the compulsion of pandemic, which will not be normally forthcoming unless the service of ULB and people taking them to residents of the cities are integrated to ICCCs. They may not turn out to be the images show, a hall with giant video walls rather than expensive one. Okay. So the core theme is, what is the core theme? ICCC integration with ULBs for increased efficiency of FFF, fund, functions and functionaries. Okay. Now let's see if anything else is left. Let's move to the next page, text and context. Okay, USCIRF, we have to see this. In its August 2022 report, the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, okay, has recommended that India has been designated a country of particular concern, that is category of government performing most poorly on religious freedom criteria. Look, okay, I'll give my views at last. Let me give a read to it. CPCs, countries of particular concern, are countries which either engage in or tolerate particular severe violations of religious freedom. A total of 15 countries have been recommended. Its decision is not binding on US government. The State Department and its Office of International Freedom takes into account other diplomatic, bilateral and strategic concerns before making decision to a CPC designation, right? So yet again they have named India, they have put India in the list of CPC, and I don't understand why they have to do everything for everyone else. It is our country, it is our problem, we'll sort it out. Why are you putting it into these things, this category? Are we putting you into a category of warmonger? No, we are not. You are actually warmonger. You have been mongering for war in recent times. From 2000 onwards, we are seeing that America is here doing this, America is there doing that. Are we saying this? And in your country only, there was an attack on your president house. There was no attack on our president house in our country, right? So you should be of particular concern. And let me remind you that there was also occurrence of that Black Lives Matter thing. Okay, so that is also a thing of particular concern. So before blaming us that we are not giving heed to our particular heed to a particular community, you look into yourself and make at least your place a good place to live, right? There is a controversy going on in Spain, in your France regarding that hijab issue and Muslim protection things, right? There are things going on in Germany, there are things going on in China about Uyghur Muslims, there are things going on in Pakistan about Ahmadiyya, the Baloch, right? There are things going out in Bangladesh, there are things going out everywhere and anywhere there are things. But they will what? They will designate India. They want to morally pressurize us so that we become a kind of moral slaves to them. And yes, most of the Indians, I feel that they are a kind of moral slaves to them. They want to intimate what US or the Western world do. No sir, we have our own tradition. Our geography is responsible for our tradition and it is best suited for us. Therefore, this has evolved over years. So we must practice that, right? And it is of no worry for us that UNCIRF puts us anywhere. It is irrelevant, and in my humble opinion, India should reject this thing, right? Because they are no one to dictate what we are going to do, right? Whatever they think about us, it is their problem. It is not our problem. Okay, this Twitter thing, Elon Musk buying Twitter. On Monday, Twitter board of directors approves a 44 million buyout offer from Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, which include 21 billion of his personal fortune. It has been a struggle for Twitter to find a business model that can effectively monetize, because unlike Facebook and Google, it never developed a viable advertisement model. Mr. Musk said that his offer for Twitter was not about making money, but about free speech. Okay, Mr. Musk has described the platform as a de facto public square, which alludes to free speech rights guaranteed in public forum under the First Amendment of US Constitution. Means for public right, for free speech, they have to make the First Amendment. Oh my God, I'm surprised about this. So they didn't have this free speech thing in their original constitution. They have to make an amendment. Okay, and they teach us about free speech. What is this here? Okay, let's see. United Color of Yellow Vest. The Yellow Vest movement was not led by union or political parties, and by the protester demands were not clearly articulated. Some want tax cut, some wanted tax rise, some wanted more public services, some want more generous state benefits, some wanted a stronger president, and some want all of this at once. The Yellow Vest have targeted the French state as both villain and savior. They have organized groups to protest outside the government office all over the country, yet despite their ire, they also demanded redress from the very same state they have all. They want the French government to lower fuel taxes, cut property taxes, hire more doctors for rural clinics. The paradox has a long pedigree of French history. The biggest danger of this protest is spiraling depoliticization. Mr. Macron plunging approval ratings before and during the Yellow Vest protest indicates a crisis of leadership which could have capitalized by far-right politician Marine Le Pen. You understand now? So it is saying that Yellow Vest movement, right, could have been better utilized by the other contender, Miss Marine, so that she could have defeated this Mr. Macron, right? But the game got in the other way. Okay, tough luck. Fine. So I think with this we come to the end of today's news analysis along with the editorial analysis. As usual, you have your homework. And what is your homework? The homework is to write in comment box which articles you will use in your answers, in your answer as case study, and in which GS paper, right? So what you have to do, you have to write in comment box that which articles from this newspaper can you use as a case study in your answers, and of which GS paper that answer would be, right? So you know I read each and every comment. Okay, so you write in your comment box and I will respond accordingly. Okay, so with this I am ending today's newspaper analysis. Okay, cut. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Follow us on Telegram as well. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams, and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard.